To start off with, it's pretty difficult to come up with words to describe how deep our sympathies are for the officer's family that died last night. And we extend our deepest sympathies, our thoughts, many, many prayers to the officer's family. We want to thank the public for the outpouring and the condolences that have been sent to other law enforcement agencies who have been so supportive and offered so much help so far today. The first thing I'd like to talk about is that the investigation has shown that the officer did in fact die after being shot by another officer. There was some gunfire in the backyard, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But the officer did die on scene. He was not transported. That officer is identified as 35-year-old James or Jim Davies, D-A-V-I-E-S. He was about a 6.5-year veteran of our department. He has a wife and 2 young children, and he was currently assigned to the Special Enforcement Team. Jim was in uniform. There was some question about that this morning, whether he was working undercover or in a different type of dress, and I can assure you that he was in full police uniform when he was shot. Along with that, you can maybe imagine the anguish that the other officer's going through right now. We feel like we have 2 victims on the department, to be quite frank. That officer is really having a difficult time with what happened last night, and I can just imagine. So we've got people working with the family of Jim Davies, and we also have people working with the other officer's family right now. There's, again, an outpouring of support. We have a peer support group at the department. We are utilizing them. We have chaplains and priests who have volunteered their time to talk to our people. The chief was having a meeting with all employees at 1 o'clock. He was still in that when I left the department, come down here to talk to you. Another thing, we have the CIRT team, the Critical Incident Response Team, or you'll commonly hear it referred to as the SHOOT team. And I think a lot of you are familiar with what the SHOOT team does. That's a team of investigators and detectives made up from all the agencies in Jefferson County, including the District Attorney's Office. They investigate any officer-involved shooting, so that's why you're seeing the SHOOT team here working today. We also have a lot of help from crime labs, from the Arvada Police Department, from the Jefferson County Sheriff's Department, assisting us with processing the scene in there. As you can imagine, our own people are having such a hard time that it's very, very welcomed help that we are getting from other law enforcement agencies. Right now we are also executing warrants on that residence. We had to wait until the judge signed warrants, and that happened at about 11 o'clock, so that's the first time we were actually able to go into the residence and start searching to see what, if anything, will assist us in the investigation. I've had a lot of inquiries about prior calls at that residence, and the only thing that I'm showing so far was an alarm call in July of this year. So other than that, I don't see a lot of long history at that residence. We do have an account set up at the Foothills Credit Union for contributions to assist the family. And I've got a phone number at Foothills Credit Union of 720-962-8200. Also, we're getting inundated with requests about where can I send flowers, where can I send food, where can I send teddy bears or anything. For right now, the chief has asked that we send that to the department at 445 South Allison Parkway in Lakewood. That's 80226. I expect as early as this afternoon to have a venue and some arrangements as far as a funeral. We're working on that, and hopefully by the time you have your afternoon newscasts, we'll have some of that in place. I also plan to leave here. I'm going to go back and issue a press release, mostly with what we've talked about here, but I will attach a photo of the officer that died. So I'll send that as soon as I get back to the station. I've also had requests for names of the 3 people that were taken into custody. Frankly, and very honestly, I haven't even seen those names because they have not formally been arrested. Apparently they're being interviewed, but a formal arrest has not taken place, which is the point where I can release a name. So until that formal arrest takes place, I won't be able to identify those 3 male parties. That's about what I've got for this afternoon, and I'm going to open it up for a few questions.